And I'm going to ask you to join me in welcoming back on stage Ava DuVernay.
To do this Q&A with me with Alex, who's just, I think, the cutest, the voice and the well, I'm very glad I don't have a big suitcase, I take along with me, but anyway. The producer, my producing partner on this film, Howard Barish, the Toronto boy from home. Our other producers of this film, Paul Barnes and Delane Jones. Our editor of the film, no one gives the editor any love. Labors over this stuff. Spencer Abbott, a good friend, Spencer Abbott, our editor. And our beautiful cast, who played, the man who played Derek in the film, a good friend of mine. It's the second film we've worked on together, Amari Hardwick. An actor who I've come to love and be a good friend with. I'm so fortunate to have him in my life now. Played Brian, the bus driver who complicates things. Stay with yellow. And our Jewel, our Jim, our Ruby, Inyatsi Kornhabi. In every single frame of the movie.
So I'm just going to ask you to raise your hands as high as you can, to speak as loud as you can, to be as brief as you can, so we can have as many questions as we can. Alright? And I might repeat the question so everybody can hear them. Let's do it right now.
Let's do it right now.
Right now! Come on! Come on! Oh yeah, right now. It's too close. I didn't see it.
Yeah. I think many of the issues that you raise in the film, they might be fringe to most people in the world, but to African Americans, the experiences that you brought up are they figure into conversation a lot. I wondered, based on that, how organic was your process of storytelling? Like, how much research did you actually have to do, and how much did you draw from your friends within the Black American community in detailing who Ruby was and what her experience of having an incarcerated husband is?
Sure. So his question, thank you for the question, was about the screenwriting process. And also part of it was about just addressing the universality and the specificity of this film, is what I think you're asking me. So yes, interviewed over 100 women who are dealing with incarceration, whether it be having someone currently incarcerated or on parole or on probation. And not only spouses, but mothers, daughters, sisters, all kinds of women of all colors, backgrounds, creeds, and ages that were dealing with incarceration and really the commonalities that they shared with me, which was, the loneliness, the kind of feeling segregated even within their own families, just the kind of the emotional segregation that happens, and this whole phenomenon of becoming imprisoned yourself as you serve time with your loved ones. So that's really what we explore through it. And I think that, for me, this film is, really about separation, more than specifically about, only the incarcerated and their loved ones who are separated, but also just exploring how it feels when we lose love, when we're separated from the thing that anchors us, and kind of that identity crisis that happens, whether it's through a death, a divorce, an incarceration, all kinds of ways that we become separated from those that we love. So that was kind of the core of the story for me. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I have a question about how that shot. I guess this is a question for the director or the actors. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that used so many close-ups of the faces to show emotion. I want to know how hard that was, or intimidating that was. Their face 80 feet wide.
You're making it work.
Sure, sir.
The looks on the face said more than as much as any of the words you chose. I wonder how smart I was or how thought out that was.
For me, very hard, very intimidating. All of that. I wasn't, during the process of shooting it, I really didn't know the moments she was going to be that close. I didn't know the moments when she was filming. I didn't know she was filming as many silences as she did. So I really wasn't aware. And the times when she told me, there were a couple scenes when she said, okay, Amy, the camera's going to be here. And when the camera is here, I said, oh, she was serious. The camera's right here. So it took some getting used to, you know, but ultimately I trusted Ava. I trusted what was to come out of that. I knew that I couldn't worry about, you know, the pimple here and the strand of hair that was out of place here. I just trusted her. I trusted the character and the woman that she was, and allowed that to lead me.
I guess I'll answer the same question. I mean, for me, in terms of when I first read the script, yes, I'm English, by the way. Like, what is he doing? So there was this weird murmury sort of silence guy. I know what you're thinking. Okay. So, but when I read the script, that was one of the things I really loved about reading the script. Is it was as much about what people are saying as what they don't say. You know, this is a film that is about waiting. It's about what happens in between taking action. So I felt that, you know, what the gentleman commented on was a very apt way of conveying that, you know, what's happening in people's minds, in people's bodies, in people's lives when they are in a state of waiting. I particularly love that scene where Lorraine Toussaint, who plays Emmy's mother in the film, when she's really going at her at that dinner table, and you just can see Emmy actually dying inside as her mum is just pummeling away at her, and that in and of itself, there's so much history in that. You can tell it happened when she was 6, when she was 16, and you know, and I think that that's what cinema is, you know, predominantly over theatre, over novels. It's you're telling stories through the image.
So English.
Yes. There's two people. So well, you first. All right.
The story arc is very interesting. Why did you decide to reveal visually what happened to Derek at the end of the film?
Yeah. So why did you decide to reveal what happened to Derek at the end of the film?
Right. I decided to reveal what happened with Derek at the end of the film because it's not Derek's story, it's Ruby's story. So it really doesn't matter what happened to him at the end of the film, it matters what happened to her through the process. And that was a real conscious choice. And either it would work or it didn't work. And for some people, you know, it just doesn't work. You want to know so badly what he did. But for me, you know, I'm really trying to force the point and make it clear that I want you to focus on her. This is a woman's story, you know what I mean? So often we see these scenes, you know, on television shows and in film where it's a prison drama and you're watching the visiting scene, and then we follow the man back into the prison and it becomes his story. And this is really her story, and that's where we want the focus to be.
So, sir, right there. Yeah, you. Oh no, you're sorry. I have the light in my eyes, so I don't really see much. And you're short hair, right?
For the actor who plays Derek, actually, how do you prepare for a role where most of the time, since it looks like you're somewhat active, that you're just sitting and all your performance is like just chest up?
Tell us about the preparation when you roll.
Well, you know, I sat in the chair a lot during rehearsal. You know, my only scenes are with Yahtzee and Sharon Lawrence. I happen to be sitting with the scene with Sharon Lawrence as well. You know, Ava's challenge to me, and I speak about this often, her challenge to me was just to basically, which is not an easy task, but basically to just make this character as empathetic as possible. You know, for us to take his journey via the journey of Emma Yahtzee's character, for us to take the journey with him and to feel like minus or less a couple wrong turns, you know, everything could be better, and that he really, really means well and wants the best for not only himself but for his wife as well. And so all of those things were, to the question earlier asked about putting the weight of the performances out of us three and the other actors just in the eyes. I think that was the biggest challenge for me, because obviously I didn't have an opportunity to really walk much further than when they let me out of jail and I make it to her. So every moment really mattered, you know, when I embrace Ruby. It's such a huge deal for me, because you know, the stakes are already high when you're playing a part, but the stakes are even higher when you're playing a part where your only physicality is within 17 to 20 feet. So I really wanted to answer Ava's challenge with just these eyes, you know, and I think any average to good actor, we know that the gift that we bring to the table as actors is our eyes, you know. And the performance is often overrated if the writing is so good. So her writing was really, really good, and I had a great tennis player, you know, and Emma Yahtzee, so I was able to play tennis and just sit there and be still, and that's the way I like to perform anyway. Being a poet, that was perfect for me. So, good question.
Yes, right there. Yep. No, that's you.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to say thank you, because I mean, this past summer we dealt with losing a lot of men in our communities and our neighborhoods to gun violence, both losing them, losing their lives, and also losing them because they've been locked up for a variety of reasons. And it's been on our minds a lot. We've been having conversations for the past 3 months every day about this, and it's really important for us, I guess, to see the stories of people like our mothers and our sisters and our best friends, because that is what's happening to us. And so often what happens to the women in the lives of those men, those narratives are very much missing, and you don't see the nuances and the complexities in the relationship with our families. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
If I can just say, I think people were laughing at that because I couldn't hear you. But what the young sister said was that in her community, because of violence and other mitigating factors in where she lives, that there is a loss of men to incarceration and to death by violence. Is that not what you said, sister? And that this has been a conversation that the women have been talking about quite seriously and trying to figure out how to deal with that. And she appreciated the story and being able to see that same story play out in another community. So thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. I don't think they were laughing at this.
Please.
Sorry, this is so inappropriate after that, but 2 questions is one, do you work out? The guy plays Derek. Your arms are just...
You work
His
out.
arms are... And on a more serious note, can you just talk more about the relationship between the mother and the 2 sisters? I couldn't really understand why she wouldn't speak up, Ruby wouldn't speak up to her mother. I didn't really grasp what was going on.
Yeah, the relationship between the mother and the 2 daughters.
Sure. Let's answer the first one first. Do you work out?
I work out, yes.
The relationship between Ruby and her mother.
That relationship was a bit of a highlight of what had been going on between them prior to any of this with her husband. for me, it kind of highlighted relationships that I've seen play out between mothers and daughters and sisters, where there's just so many expectations, whatever that may be, but some kind of expectation that's just not met. And as a result, you know, for mothers anyway, there's just a feeling of disappointment. But they may not always realize how that is being given off to their child. And so in Ruby's case, with her mother, it always been a very strained relationship. And that came to terms even more once her husband is locked up, because then her mother really feels like, what are you doing? You know, she had all these goals and plans and dreams, and her mother felt like, you know, you're wasting all of that, waiting for someone. So it's just a matter of taking the time to understand, to learn someone, rather than just placing your own expectations on them. And I believe that was Ruby's true issue with her mother, was that she really didn't take the time to understand her.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the actors, you guys have such incredible chemistry in both relationships, and I wanted to ask, what did you work on to get that? Because it was like you had really been together for that long.
So she was asking how we, conjured up the chemistry between us as characters in terms of, I guess, our relationship, and then Emiatsi and Omari's relationship as well. I think for us, you know, we just felt so privileged to be part of this project because of the writing. So much of it was on the page. You know, I'd like to say to you that we did tons of rehearsal and lots of improvisation and all that, but we really didn't. It was so on the page, and Ava was very, very clear about her vision for the story in terms of, and it was there in the production design, in the costumes, and the sets. That there was just too many clues, in a sense, for us as actors to guide us. So I really feel like it was a perfect setting to get the film right, and then we actually really liked each other, which doesn't always happen when you're doing a film. You know, I personally, obviously, a lot of my scenes were with Emiatsi, and you know, I hadn't seen any of her work before. I had met her a few times before we did the film, but I was truly blown away by her talent. I really, really was, and you know, to get to act with someone who is just that vulnerable and strong and giving and gifted, for me it just made it so easy. So I'd like to say we did lots of work, but you know, we kind of did it on the day and it ended up on the screen. That was my experience anyway.
To piggyback David's point, it was a sprint of a film. How long, Howard?
Unlike major Hollywood motion movies that take months and months and months and months to film and make, these guys dove in head first. The film that you just saw was shot in 19 days.
Ava, like she spoke about, we had worked prior together, so, and Emiatsi and I knew each other for years. We've known each other, very good friends, and so it was an opportunity to just extend that friendship and we're fans of each other. Like David said, you know, we're fans. I really, really support her and respect her as a person, first and foremost, as a woman, and as a budding superstar actress. And so it was fun to just play in. Ava trusted my 6 days of work. Yeah. I think I worked for 6 days, so we just went in, and we're very, very blessed, as David said, to have such a leading lady as Emmy. So that's my take. Emmy probably doesn't need to answer the question now.
We have time for one more. Right there. Can you shout a little bit more, please?
All right. Ava, what inspired you to make this movie?
I love love stories, and I was really interested in exploring a story that was about lost love and how we handle that. And it's set in a community that I grew up in. I grew up in Compton, California. And the working people that are there, and just the ordinary life of Compton as opposed to the Compton that you may see in rap songs and so forth. And so yeah, just a stew of a lot of things that I was thinking about in terms of love and relationships, shared humanity between folks of all colors and creeds, and then also really wanting to show my community. And part of my community is disproportionate rates of incarceration that infect families and legacies and memories, and it's really a brutal system. And I wanted to show the invisible victims, the women in waiting. It's startling statistics. Millions of women are dealing with this, and it's eroding to the human spirit, and it's not often talked about, their side of things. So that's what it was about. I just want to thank everyone for coming. There weren't a lot of technical questions. Sometimes at various festivals, we have a lot of filmmakers who want to talk about camera use and editing and producers, so I always want to make sure that our producing team and the filmmakers that made the film with me are here. So if anyone has any questions afterward, you want to ask any of these brilliant people, Paul Carnes or Howard Barrett or Spencer Averick or Delane Jones, about filmmaking. If you're a filmmaker, they'll be here. Otherwise, thank you for coming. Let me say one thing. Let's say one thing. If you're American, any Americans in the house? A few Americans. We're like, we're American. Say it with pride. This film opens October 12th. We are now, since September 12th, we're 30 days from our theatrical release. And it is a scary process, and it is a big deal, and we are partnered with Participant on this, but we are both, companies that have humble roots, and we are, maybe not humble roots, but humble spirits. And all that to say, you're not going to see billboards in Times Square on this film. It is going to be hand-to-hand, word of mouth, heart to heart, Facebook to Facebook, Twitter to Twitter. Please tweet. Please join us on Facebook. Please check us out at takepart.com to know more about our social action campaign. Please spread the word. It's the only way that we'll be able to share this film with more people. So anyway, thank you so much for coming.
And thank you for being here to support the film. I also want to remind you that you can vote for the film by dropping your ticket in one of the boxes outside, or you can go online and enter your number that's on your ticket. I also want to thank the volunteers who are doing a fantastic job for this festival. So yeah, give them a round of applause. And I wish you a good time in Toronto until the 16th. Thank you.
Just like sitting there. Yeah, that was like